Sometimes their behavior makes no sense to others. While most people follow predictable social patterns, Sigma males operate on a completely different frequency. Their actions often leave others confused, even frustrated. But what looks strange to most people actually follows a deeper logic. Here are 7 behaviors that make Sigma males seem odd to others, but make perfect sense when you understand their mindset. Number 1. They don't react well to praise. Most people enjoy a compliment or a pat on the back. It's a boost to the ego, a validation of their efforts, and it just feels good to be recognized. But Sigma males often respond strangely to praise. It's not that they're ungrateful or don't appreciate kind words. They simply don't need them to feel good about themselves. They might even see them as unnecessary or insincere. When someone points out their achievements or qualities, they often respond with a quick deflection or change the subject entirely. It's like they'd rather discuss anything else than their own merits. This reaction confuses those familiar with the usual social exchange of compliments and gratitude. They mistake this behavior for rudeness or lack of social grace. After all, isn't it normal to enjoy recognition for your accomplishments? But here's what's actually happening. These men measure themselves by their own standards, not others' opinions. External validation, even positive, feels irrelevant to them. They know exactly what they've achieved and why. Someone else pointing it out doesn't add or subtract from that reality. You'll notice this especially in professional settings. While others bask in public recognition or share their achievements widely, these men often seem uncomfortable during praise-heavy moments like performance reviews or award ceremonies. They'd rather focus on the work itself than discuss how well they did it. This isn't about low self-esteem or inability to accept kindness. It's about viewing praise for what it is, just someone's opinion. They don't reject compliments to be difficult. They simply don't need them to validate what they already know about themselves. What really throws people off is how these men can acknowledge criticism more easily than praise. They'll carefully consider negative feedback while seeming to dismiss positive recognition entirely. It's backward from how most people operate, but in their mind, it makes perfect sense. Number 2. They avoid the fuss around their birthday. Most people love their special day. The attention, the wishes, the social media posts, the celebrations. It's a chance to feel important and loved. But Sigma males don't see it that way. While others count down to their big day, these men often keep the date to themselves. It's not about being antisocial or hating celebrations. They simply don't see the point in making a big deal about something that happens every year. The idea of seeking attention or validation for simply being born another year feels strange to them. Watch what happens when people find out it's their birthday. While most would soak up the sudden attention and well wishes, they seem almost uncomfortable with the fuss. They'll quietly thank people and try to move the conversation along. No social media announcements, no party planning, no fishing for birthday messages. This behavior confuses people who are used to the typical birthday circus. They can't understand why someone wouldn't want to celebrate, share photos, or receive endless notifications. Some even take it personally, as if declining a birthday celebration is rejecting their friendship. But here's what's really going on. These men prefer genuine connections over social obligations. They'd rather have a quiet dinner with close friends who remember their birthday naturally than receive 100 forced happy birthday messages from people who only know because Facebook told them. This isn't about being different or mysterious. It's simply about valuing authenticity over social customs. While others see birthdays as a chance to be the center of attention, these men see it as just another day, one best spent like any other, focusing on what actually matters to them. Number 3. They disappear from parties without saying goodbye. The Irish goodbye, the French exit, the silent departure, whatever you call it. It's a classic Sigma move that leaves people scratching their heads. One minute they're there, the next, vanished, without a word to anyone. Social convention says you should make the rounds, thank the host, and properly bid farewell to everyone. But these men see something others miss. Goodbyes often turn into drawn-out social obligations. What should take 30 seconds becomes a 30-minute process of explanations, persuasions to stay longer, and empty promises to meet up soon. This is about valuing efficiency over social expectation. When they feel their energy depleting or they've had enough social interaction, they simply leave. No need for lengthy explanations or forced conversations. Just a quiet exit when the time feels right. Look at how much simpler it makes things. No interrupting multiple conversations to announce their departure. No awkward exchanges about why they're leaving so early. No getting caught in that loop of goodbye conversations that never seem to end. Just a clean, quiet exit. The interesting part is that once people get used to this behavior, they often respect it. While the first few times might seem odd or even rude, eventually others come to appreciate the no-fuss approach. Some even wish they had the courage to do the same. This isn't about being rude or antisocial. These men often send a thank you message the next day, showing appreciation without getting caught in the social ceremony of leaving. They've simply found that slipping away quietly is more natural than turning their exit into a production. They hate that unnecessary attention and fake enthusiasm, so they avoid it altogether. Number 4. They seem to know what you're thinking. Have you ever had a conversation with someone and felt like they were reading your mind? Not in some mystical way, but in a way that makes you wonder if your thoughts are showing on your face like subtitles. That's what it's like when a Sigma male figures you out. These men notice things others miss entirely. The slight pause before you answer a question. The way your smile doesn't quite reach your eyes when you're being polite. How your body language shifts when certain topics come up. While everyone else takes things at face value, they're picking up on dozens of subtle signals you didn't even know you were sending. It's not about being psychic. It's about paying attention. Years of observing human behavior from the outside have given them an almost unfair advantage. They've learned to spot patterns in how people act when they're hiding something, when they're genuine, when they're trying to impress. The really unnerving part is how they use this insight. They might ask a question that hits exactly what you've been worried about, or make a comment that reveals they've noticed something you thought you were hiding well. Sometimes they'll even predict your reactions before you have them. But here's the thing. They rarely use this ability to their advantage. Instead of exploiting these insights, they often keep them to themselves. They might adjust their behavior based on what they notice, but they won't call attention to what they've figured out. Think of it like having subtitles turned on while everyone else is just watching the picture. They're not trying to read your mind. They've just learned to notice the subtle text that's been there all along. This isn't magic. It's simply the result of being more focused on observing than being observed. Number 5. They don't compete when challenged. There's something interesting about how most guys react when they're challenged. They typically feel this immediate urge to prove themselves. When someone suggests they're not good enough at something, they'll rush to demonstrate their skills. When someone questions their abilities, they quickly try to prove them wrong. It's like a reflex they can't control. Meanwhile, Sigma males remain unmoved by these provocations. Throw any kind of challenge at them, about their strength, their skills, their intelligence, and you'll see something unexpected. Instead of jumping to prove themselves, they usually offer no response at all. They might give a slight nod, maybe a small smile, or just continue what they were doing, as if nothing was said. The dynamic becomes almost comical when people try harder to provoke a response. The more someone pushes for competition, the less these men seem to care. It's not about avoiding competition. They just don't see any value in proving themselves to others. In normal social settings, while others are busy trying to one-up each other, these men remain detached. They might engage in friendly banter and good-natured ribbing, but they don't let it escalate into a serious competition. This doesn't mean they're not competitive at all. They just choose their battles carefully. For them, The only worthwhile competition is one that pushes them to improve themselves. They don't waste their energy competing for the sake of proving something to someone else. Most people can't understand this behavior. It defies the normal social script where challenges demand responses and provocations require reactions. The concept of someone simply not caring about proving their worth seems almost alien. These men have just figured out something simple. If you're good at something, you don't need to prove it every time someone asks. They know what they can do, and that's enough for them. Why waste time and energy proving yourself to people who probably don't matter in your life anyway? Number 6. They don't care about their social media presence. Open a Sigma male's social media profile, and you'll probably find a ghost town. No carefully curated photos, no daily updates, no perfectly timed posts. If they have accounts at all, they're usually bare minimum. Maybe a simple profile picture from years ago, and occasional check-ins to stay connected with close friends. Most people treat social media like a second job. They plan their posts, edit their photos, craft clever captions, and time their updates for maximum engagement. It's become such a normal part of life that not participating seems almost suspicious to others. Look at any gathering with these men. While others are busy capturing every moment for their stories, they're actually experiencing the event. No pausing conversations for group photos, no interrupting experiences to get the perfect shot, no checking how many likes their latest post received. The absence of social validation needs runs deeper than just avoiding posts. They don't scroll through feeds looking for updates, don't check who viewed their profile, don't measure their worth by online metrics. Their life happens in reality, not on digital platforms. Friends often find this confusing. They'll tag these men in photos only to realize they haven't logged in for weeks. They'll send friend requests that sit pending for months. They'll share content directly, knowing it probably won't be seen through regular feeds. For these men, it's simple. Social media adds unnecessary complexity to life. They prefer direct communication over public broadcasts, real experiences over digital footprints, actual memories over curated highlights. Not because they're trying to make a statement, but because that's what feels natural to them. Their approach might seem outdated to some, but it gives them something increasingly rare in modern life: genuine presence in their own experiences. Number 7. They can cut people off without a second thought. At first glance, it might seem cold. Someone who was a regular part of their life suddenly disappears from it completely. No drama, no explanation, no second chances. But there's always a history behind these clean breaks that others don't see. These men don't cut people off for minor issues or single mistakes. They understand that everyone slips up sometimes, but when someone shows a pattern of disrespect, manipulation, or betrayal, that's when the switch flips, and once it does, there's rarely any going back. It's not about revenge or sending a message. After giving multiple chances and seeing the same behaviors repeat, they simply remove themselves from the equation. No angry confrontations, no public announcements, no burning bridges, just a quiet exit from situations that no longer serve them. While others might drag out toxic relationships hoping things will change, these men act decisively once they've seen enough. They don't feel the need to explain their reasons or give yet another chance. The previous chances were enough. This approach often confuses people who are used to lengthy fallouts and emotional goodbyes. They can't understand how someone can disconnect so completely without visible anger or drama. But these men have learned that clean breaks heal better than messy ones. Their philosophy is simple. If someone shows you who they are repeatedly, believe them the first few times. They don't cut people off because they want to. They do it because experience has taught them it's sometimes the only healthy option. This isn't about being heartless. It's about having clear boundaries and the strength to enforce them when they're repeatedly crossed. Sometimes, the quietest exit is the most powerful response.